Good morning. My name is Kat Fotovet, and I am the Senior Official for the Secretary's Office of Global Women's Issues here at the State Department. It is my pleasure to welcome both our in-person and virtual audience to the 15th Annual Secretary of State's International Women of Courage Awards. 7, the U.S. has marked this day by recognizing women who have exemplified exceptional courage and leadership, advocating for human rights, women's equality, and social progress, often at great personal risk to themselves and their families. Our office is responsible for ensuring that gender equality and women's empowerment are integrated throughout the work of the State Department, both here in Washington and at our embassies and consulates overseas. We aim to ensure that women's issues are at the forefront of our foreign policy in every corner of the world by raising gender equality in conversations with other governments and listening to, learning from, and working with civil society activists to promote more fair and just societies. The International Women of Courage Award is a critical component of our work and an event we look forward to every year. The award selection process is extremely competitive, and our awardees should be very proud of this recognition. Each year, this ceremony draws greater interest and enthusiasm, and we want to build on this momentum moving forward in collaboration with all of you watching the ceremony today, both in the United States and all over the world. This event is also an opportunity for the United States to reaffirm its commitment to the advancement of gender equality and women's empowerment, and to recognize the unique contributions of women, and especially today's honorees. To this year's awardees, thank you so much for the work that you do to speak up for the voiceless, to protect the vulnerable, and to push governments to do a better job for their citizens. We recognize the risks that you are taking and celebrate your courage to persist. We hope that this recognition will help further advance your causes in your respective countries and on the international stage. We are so inspired by all of your stories, and while we recognize the challenges to the advancement of women's empowerment continue to persist, we also celebrate the enormous progress that has been made over the last few decades due to the efforts of women like our awardees. Now it is my great and distinct honor to welcome to the stage the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden, and the Secretary of State of the United States, Antony Blinken. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's celebration. We have a few special guests today because this is an event that all world who have shown exceptional strength and leadership in advocating for peace, justice, human rights, and gender equality, often at great risk to themselves. The women we honor today have endured violence, death threats, imprisonment, and police harassment because of their work. Some have fled their homes.
I'm thrilled to introduce Renita Minanaraja as a finalist for the Secretary of State's 15th Annual International Women of Courage Award. Ms. Minanaraja is a lawyer who fights on behalf of Sri Lanka's most vulnerable populations, including families affected by enforced disappearances, survivors of gender-based violence, and religious and ethnic minorities. She's dedicated her life to the pursuit of justice, often at considerable personal risk. Some of her most impressive work involves advocacy for families of the disappeared and for prisoners arrested under Sri Lanka's Prevention of Terrorism Act, who are often detained for years without charges. Ms. Minanaraja has also worked tirelessly to build the capacity of grassroots organizations that advocate for women's equal rights to land and property and to stand against gender-based violence. Among her many accomplishments, I am most inspired by her leadership and advocacy for a victim-centered approach for inquiries into enforced disappearances stemming from Sri Lanka's third-year civil war. A tireless advocate for women, Ms. Yanaraja's important domestic violence research identified deficiencies at police stations that impeded women's ability to seek protection from abuse and harassment. Her representation of survivors in court and her leadership of awareness campaigns to educate women about their rights resulted in increased access to women's shelters, counseling services, and medical care for domestic violence survivors across the country. Ms. Yanaraja has helped the most vulnerable people avail themselves of their rights, and in doing so, is a model of courage in Sri Lanka and around the world. I'm proud to nominate her for the International Women of Courage Award.